Hi everybody, I'm Melissa. Thank you so much for following along as I explore the unique charm of Japan's Takarazuka Revue. If you're new to this channel, I really recommend going back and watching my first English video, which gives you a bit of an introduction into what Takarazuka Revue actually is. So in last week's episode, I talked a little bit about what a Takarazuka performance actually involves by talking about the different kinds of productions that the Takarazuka Revue company stages, as well as giving some insight into the kinds of themes and elements that run through every production. If you did watch last week's episode, you would have noticed that my eye was not in good shape. I really apologize for it. I like to think it was more of a Terminator look than like a disease look, but it's in better shape this week, so hopefully not quite so horrifying. Also, you probably noticed, or definitely noticed, the colouring wasn't very good in last week's episode. I'm working with a new camera at the moment. I have no experience filming video or editing video, so I did the best I could to fix the colour. Hopefully this week will look a lot better, but if it doesn't, I'm really sorry again. Thank you for kind of tuning in while I'm still just trying to work out the kind of finer details. So in this week's episode, I'm going to be talking about what the Takarazuka Troupes are by giving you some insight into the 5 main troupes, as well as the extra special troupe called Senka. So each troupe has its own really unique and special history, which I'd love to explore more in future episodes. But for now, I'm going to keep it to a really basic breakdown of each troupe, as well as some of the important roles in each troupe. So Takarazuka Revue consists of 5 main troupes: Flower, Moon, Snow, Star and Cosmos. Having this 5 troupe structure allows for the Takarazuka Revue company to keep up with the incredible demand for its performances all across Japan. So typically, there'll be 1 troupe performing at the Takarazuka Grand Theatre in Takarazuka City, Hyogo, 1 troupe performing at the Tokyo Takarazuka Theatre, 1 troupe performing in 2 side productions somewhere in Japan, and then 2 troupes in rehearsals for upcoming productions, hopefully also factoring in some rest time. The stability of having this 5 troupe structure, rather than say casting each production from a general pool of Takarazuka actresses, also allows for really good team dynamics to develop within each troupe over a longer period of time. It also gives fans the chance to find a troupe that they really want to support. So let's talk about some of the important roles in each troupe. As I've mentioned in previous videos, each troupe has its own top star, or the top ranked Tokoyaku within the troupe. The top star will be the face of the troupe. That means they'll appear front and centre of every production they appear in, as well as in any promotional material. Top stars will also have their own line of merchandise, as well as regular appearances in Takarazuka's 2 monthly magazines. Next to the top star will of course be the top Musumeyaku. So the top Musumeyaku is the top ranked Musumeyaku in each troupe. The top Musumeyaku generally plays the love interest of the top star in the productions, although that isn't always the case. Top Musumeyakus will also make regular appearances in Takarazuka's magazines, as well as in promotional materials. But it is important to note that in Takarazuka, the top star is truly the star. That means you will usually see the Musumeyaku placed slightly behind the top star. They also don't have their own line of merchandise. Outside of the top combi of the top star and top Musumeyaku, each troupe will also have its own nibante, that is the second ranked Tokoyaku within the troupe. So the second ranked Tokoyaku will play the second lead male role in each production. That'll usually be the villain or best friend role, and the connection between the nibante and top star on stage will be almost, if not just as important as the connection between the top star and top Musumeyaku. Nibante are incredibly popular. They generally appear in production posters, as well as often leading their own side performances. They also make regular appearances in Takarazuka's magazines, and they are typically younger than the top star, so it is conventional for the nibante to take over from the top star once the top star leaves Takarazuka, although that definitely isn't always the case. Following on from the nibante, there's also a sanbante within every troupe, which is the third ranked Tokoyaku within the troupe. So the sanbante will usually play the third male lead role within each production, as well as often leading their own side productions. Following on from the sanbante and also on the Musumeyaku side, there is a very complex ranking system within each Takarazuka troupe, but I think it's probably best to leave to the side for now. The last 2 positions that I'd like to mention here are the Kumicho, which is the president or leader of a troupe, and the Fuku Kumicho, the vice president or vice leader of the troupe. Typically, the Kumicho will be the longest standing member of the troupe, and the Fuku Kumicho will be the second longest standing member of the troupe, although that sometimes isn't the case. The responsibility of the Kumicho is essentially to look after all of the actresses in the troupe. That means watching over their performances and appearances, responding to any problems that might arise, giving them a lot of advice on both stage and personal matters, as well as reprimanding any actresses who make mistakes. So the responsibility of Kumicho also extends outside of the internal workings of the troupe. They tend to make a lot of speeches, both during the opening day of production, closing day of production, and at other events. So those are a few of the key roles within each Takarazuka troupe. I think one of the questions that really commonly springs to mind when you look at the troupe structure is it possible to move between the troupes? The answer is yes. Kumigaye, or changing troupes, is a process that happens fairly commonly in Takarazuka, usually a few times a year. Kumigaye is always announced on the official Takarazuka website, but no reasons are ever given, which leads to a lot of mystery around why actresses are being shifted between particular troupes. Generally though, Kumigaye can be seen as a really good sign of the prospects of a particular actress. So typically what will happen is that a troupe will have too many strong otokoyaku or musumeyaku of a particular age range. So some actresses will be shifted to another troupe that might be lacking a little bit in those areas, giving those actresses a chance to really shine. For example, in the Cosmos troupe, the current top star, Makaze Suzuho-san, was originally from the Star troupe, while the Star troupe's current top musumeyaku, Maisora Hitomi-san, was originally from Flower troupe. She actually only moved last year to the Star troupe. Before giving an introduction into the 5 main Takarazuka troupes, I'd also like to talk a little bit about Senka, also known as the superior members. Senka will absolutely be the subject of its own episode in the future, but for now I think a short introduction would be good. So essentially, Takarazuka is a world of entrances and exits. Every year, around 40 actresses graduate from the Takarazuka Music School and enter the Takarazuka troupes. At the same time, every year, around 40 actresses will retire from Takarazuka. The retirement process, of course, will be talked about in future episodes, but for now, it's really important to note that most actresses don't stay in Takarazuka for a very long time. While there isn't a particular typical age at which to graduate, it is unusual for actresses to remain in Takarazuka for more than 15 years, with the Kumicho and Fuku Kumicho being really important exceptions. And that's where Senka comes in. So essentially, Senka is a troupe, although it's not considered one of the main Takarazuka troupes. It consists of a very small number of Takarazuka actresses who don't belong to any of the 5 main troupes. So at the moment, there are 14 Senka actresses. So all of these actresses got their start in one of Takarazuka's 5 main troupes before at some point, generally later in their Takarazuka career, accepting an invitation to join Senka. So decisions on who joins Senka are based on an individual actress's superb performance, as well as their possession of some area of expertise, although that's pretty loosely defined. So Senka actresses typically retire at the Japanese retirement age of 65, although it is possible in some circumstances for actresses to stay in Senka longer than that, as well as to leave early if desired. So the main role of Senka is to join other troupes' main performances and side performances and essentially play a supportive role. So they'll typically take on roles that it might be difficult for other troupes to do. In particular, they'll often play older aged characters or characters with really incredible presences, for example, company presidents or even sometimes gods. Occasionally, Senka will also stage its own productions, such as Papa, I Love You, which was staged in early 2019. So finally, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the 5 main troupes that make up the Takarazuka Revue company. So one of the biggest questions is, what are the differences between the troupes? This is actually a really hard question to answer. Personally, I feel that each troupe's charm and special characteristics are largely determined by the actresses who make up the troupe at a particular moment in time. This means that troupes tend to develop and morph over time. That being said, there are some really important overarching differences between the troupes, generally a product of their different histories, which I think are worth noting here. So let's start with Flower Troupe. So interestingly, Flower Troupe, although started at the same time as the Moon Troupe on October 15th, 1921, is considered the first troupe of Takarazuka. It's also pretty much the face of Takarazuka. The troupe's colour is a reddish pink colour. It's often called the treasure house of otokoyaku because it's known for producing some of Takarazuka's biggest stars. So this is not only the Flower Troupe's top stars itself, but also actresses who've had their start in Flower Troupe and then moved to other troupes to become top star through Kumigaye. So for example, in the Snow Troupe at the moment, the top star Futo Nozomi-san and top Musumeyaku Maya Kiho-san both got their start in Flower Troupe. Flower Troupe productions often encompass the classic image of a Takarazuka production. So that is incredibly gorgeous, European-inspired, fairy tale-like musicals performed by beautiful, flawless, multi-talented actresses. The current top star of Flower Troupe is Yuzukare-san, and the current top Musumeyaku is Hanayuki-san. Moving on to the second troupe, the Moon Troupe. Established in 1921, like the Flower Troupe, the Moon Troupe's colour is yellow. So the Moon Troupe is traditionally associated with a really great emphasis on acting, which means that a lot of Japan's really famous actresses first got their start in Takarazuka's Moon Troupe. This includes in particular Amami Yuki-san, who is an incredibly famous Japanese television and film actress, and probably the most famous former Takarazuka actress in all of Japan. I also feel that in recent years, there's been a really big emphasis in the Moon Group on staging American Broadway-style musicals with a slightly younger feel, kind of as opposed to Flower Troupe's more classic European-style musicals. At present, the current top star for the Moon Group is Tamaki Ryo-san, and the current top Musumeyaku is Misano Sakura-san. Next up is the Snow Troupe, or Takarazuka's third troupe. The Snow Troupe was established in 1924 alongside the opening of the Takarazuka Grand Theatre, and its colour is green. So traditionally, the Snow Troupe has been associated with staging a larger number of Japanese-style musicals. In addition, I feel like in recent years, there has been a greater proportion of more tragic, darker-style musicals, for example, Phantom and the current Once Upon a Time in America. I also feel like in the Snow Troupe, there's a particular emphasis on incredible singing voices. For example, at present, the current top star Futo Nozomi-san and top Musumeyaku Maya Kiho-san both have exceptionally gorgeous singing voices. Moving then on to the fourth troupe, we have the Star Troupe. So the Star Troupe was established in 1933 and their colour is blue. So originally the Star Troupe was nicknamed the Costume Stars, but I think now you can see more of an emphasis on comedic performances along with exceptionally active, lively dance numbers. The current top star is Rei Makoto-san and the current top Musumeyaku is Maisora Hitomi-san. Finally, we have the Cosmos Troupe, the fifth troupe in Takarazuka. The Cosmos Troupe was established in 1998, a full 65 years after the establishment of the Star Troupe. It was actually introduced because the Tokyo Takarazuka Theatre went under some renovations, which meant it could start to be used all year round as a special dedicated theatre for Takarazuka. So the Cosmos Troupe's colour is purple. Its most distinguishing factor is definitely the incredible height and often slightly larger bodies of its actresses. For example, the current top star stands at 175 centimetres tall, topping out as the tallest current top star in Takarazuka. In addition, while the Cosmos Troupe stages a very broad array of productions, I think generally the productions tend to have a slightly cooler, younger atmosphere than a lot of other Takarazuka productions. The current top star is Suzuho Makaze-san, and the current top Musumeyaku is Hoshikaze Madoka-san. So there you have it. I hope this video has provided you with a greater insight into the different Takarazuka troupes, the roles within the troupes, as well as the special position of Senka. In next week's video, I'm going to be trying to answer the question, what's so special about a Takarazuka finale, by giving a more detailed rundown of the different performances and elements you can expect to see in essentially every Takarazuka finale. I really hope you'll tune in. And if you've been liking this series so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care. Bye.